and welcome into Full Screen Podcast. I'm your host, Kira Aster. Joining me today, the Kevin Feige to my Luis Desposito. It's Raven Ebert. How are you, Raven?
Oh my god, am I that bad to work with? I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. I will take some moments to pause and reflect.
I thought I was being nice giving you the Kevin title and taking the quiet little background player, Luis. He's not the background player. We'll talk about it, but he's right there with Kevin.
Yeah. I would say you and I are more like the two goons to a major villain. I think we're like Pain and Panic to Hades in the Hercules movie. Like you and me.
Great.
You know.
Yes.
We're just sort of...
I will say, we're both Victoria Alonso. Let's be real. We're both Victoria Alonso, who was doing all of the work.
Oh, man.
Coming after Marvel.
Truly.
Jake is out there promoting the Roadhouse, which is interesting because so it's MGM.
Nothing is left to die, by the way. Like, welcome to another remake, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah,
MGM.
It's an enjoyable, dad watch, which is the content MGM and Amazon are going for. But I don't know, this precedent of MGM now being owned by Amazon, and now it just ended up on Prime without people really getting a chance. Like, put this in the theaters. Give it more of a chance. Like, Immaculate is out on theaters. Our girl Sydney Sweeney thriving. Would have liked to see Jake Gyllenhaal in the theaters, but
it'll be interesting to see what the actual demographics of this new Roadhouse is going to be. I'm not gonna lie, Jake Gyllenhaal being in the role actually intrigues me because it's not what I expected from him in his career trajectory, and it sort of fits given that Patrick Swayze was also like the pretty boy who could be tough on the turn of a dime, but I don't see Jake doing tough. I see him doing psychotic at the turn of a dime. I don't know who else to go for this. I don't know who else has the physique. I don't want to yet again just pick Jacob Elordi for stuff, but again, he's also a pretty boy that can go psychotic. And
let's recap our social media so people can tell us who they would dreamcast in this role.
Honestly, I mean, rest in peace, Patrick Swayze. You were amazing. You were perfect. And I enjoy Tu Wong Fu more than I care to admit every passing year. But yeah, if you have suggestions for your fan cast, not only for this, but for Dune Messiah, if we get enough going, we'll be pressuring Denis Villeneuve to give his life to the Shai Hulud, as is wrote in the, WhatsApp chain of the Bene Gesserit, I want to say. But if you want to reach out to us, you can do so on both Instagram and Twitter at fullscreen_pod. You can subscribe to us on Spotify, iTunes, as well as the Google Podcast and our YouTube channel, Full Screen Podcast, where you can subscribe and engage with our content and boost that algorithm, baby. You can also reach out to us by email at fullyscreened@gmail.com. Please send me all of your Dune fanfic, especially the ones that have been written by your grandparents and stuff. I love reading 1960s era fan fiction. I've done that for Star Trek. I would like to do that for Dune as well, so please send that over.
Can't wait. All right, today's topic.
Oh boy.
The MCU, baby. Okay. We've talked about MCU in basically every episode in some form of another. It's been through a lot, guys. Failures in management and in the boardroom. Failures in handling tech, design, animation, VFX. Failures in perception with fans and non-fans. And newbies that they want to make fans. Failures at the box office. Failures in PR. You name it. They've messed everything up. But we're here. There's something maybe starting to happen this month. Too early to tell, but we're here to talk about 2024, the new phase 5, phase 6, and beyond. We're here to talk roadmap. So,
product managers assemble.
Welcome into the multiplying genre. Today, I want you to imagine, Raven, that this is a town hall straight out of Parks and Rec. There's mismanagement, there's corruption, there's incompetency, of course, Jerry, there's people yelling, "Good God, I can't take this anymore," and of course, complacency. All tied together by one person with an undying passion to create something meaningful. Kevin or Leslie?
Honestly, that's a really good analogy because it's also full of people who are like, you need to take care of my kids instead of me. And what is the MCU if not someone's expensive babysitter? So that's a really good analogy.
Great comp. I just pictured the chaos of town halls is what's happening in the MCU right now. So we're going to start the multiplying genre today with a Marvel recap of 2023. Not much, guys, but there's a lot to say here. So releases in 2023. In February, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. You know, not much to say here, to be honest, and we don't want to enter the territory that this kicked off.
The silence speaks volumes. I think it's fair to recap and say everybody saw the movie and was like, this? Her? And it was a reaction to the visuals, which I think, again, some of which are by design because it's set in the quantum realm. And so there's a lot of imagination gone amok, you know, very science fiction of the 50s and 60s. Like, I got that vibe. A lot of the promotional images look like the covers of the cheap pulp books that you could get back in those days for like $1 or $2.
It's just it was not good. And also, like, this is the first time I kind of felt as a diehard MCU fan, this is the first time I felt, oh, I understand what other people are talking about in terms of, like, I can't distinguish elements because the colors and the VFX has just been declining, and we know the reason. It's not the artist, it's the management that treats the artist really poorly. And I just remember being like just purple. The whole movie was just like Kang purple, and it was just really hard. It was really dark and dark purple. It was really hard to watch, and I don't think I'll be revisiting this again. Watching it once was a chore. 46% on Rotten Tomatoes, I believe the lowest to date. In the MCU.
It swiped that crown from the Eternals. Interesting.
476 million on the box office. You know, low for MCU, but not the worst. Then came, so this was beginning of the year, last year, then in May, in the spring, came Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and things started looking up. Animal Torture, James Gunn, great songs, you know, James Gunn did his thing. I was very moved. This is, again, another movie that I will not revisit because the Animal Torture was a lot for me, but it was good. It was a great goodbye love letter.
I think James Gunn is now personally going to go to Sephora to target the 10-year-olds that are terrorizing it and saying, you can do whatever you want here, but do not buy makeup that is tested on animals, or I will personally come to your house.
Sephora, get on this!
And take away all of your drunk elephant and make you watch Guardians of the Galaxy, but just like the rocket torture edit. So I think this could be very effective, you know. Clean makeup approved by Rocket Raccoon. Bradley Cooper gets to voice Rocket saying, "I only use vegan eyeliner."
Bradley is just out there doing everything. Abbott Elementary, him doing the voice of Rocket Raccoon, amazing. Okay, and so this is at 82% on Rotten Tomatoes, 94% with the audience, no surprise. 850 million in the box office. Another hit. After this, James Gunn was like, peace out. I'm big Jim Gunn now. I own DC. Then came, well, partly part MCU story, but it is a Sony story. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Is it the second in the universe, right? Yeah.
It's the second, and the third is left hanging because of the effect of not only the writer's strike, but the VFX artists who had to work on this entirely animated movie also were worked to the bone. I wonder if that's gonna be a recurring issue.
Yeah. Another hit, right? 95% with the critics, 94% with the audience, 690 million at the box office. Yeah, I will say it was a real big surprise that this didn't win the Oscar. I know a lot of pundits were
absolutely not. I am Miyazaki pilled all the way, baby. And I tried to pill you with the Miyazaki pill because I got you on that Totoro shit and you were fucking whimsical. You were joyously laughing and bounding in the snow in New York while you were watching the Studio Ghibli, fantastical animation.
I ride hard for Miyazaki, but I will say I have not seen Boy and the Heron. I think it was only in the theaters for like 2-3 weeks and I missed it. And
it's coming back, and I have to say that I watched the Japanese dub. I actually would like to watch the English one now because I heard that.
Why is that?
Because of Robert Pattinson. I heard that he gives an unhinged performance, and I was like, well, what Robert Pattinson performance isn't unhinged, quite frankly, but I think it'll be enjoyable to see that as well, because I think people are actually performing in that dub. But the Spider-Verse animation is so beautiful. And it's so full of details. It's packed with details.
But yeah, great movie. And then came in November, which was delayed because it was supposed to come out in the summer, The Marvels. So 62% on Rotten Tomatoes, 82% with the audience. Pretty poor. Honestly, I watched this recently on Disney Plus. Not bad. I thought it was like fun and delightful for what it was, and it's just really a female-led movie directed by a woman gets this treatment, and like Brie Larson has not been treated well by the studios, by the executives and the fans, and it's disheartening to see this again and again with like female or minority-led properties suffering this. But guys, it's on Disney Plus now. It's on other places. Watch it. It was an enjoyable watch.
Yeah, I think they also suffered from the ongoing actor strike preventing the talent in this movie from promoting it a lot. I think they caught maybe the tail end of the promotional cycle where the movie came out and they weren't able to promote it for a while. And then maybe in like its third week at the box office, that's when the strike was lifted and stars could start speaking about their projects again. So I think there's a component of that as well.
It would have been really fun to see Brie Larson and the girls like promoted and doing like puppy interviews, and I hear what you're saying. All right, let's get to TV real quick. So this is when I started to be like, maybe this isn't for anyone anymore. This isn't for me anymore. Is the show that we had waited for a while, like, oh, this will fix these story issues. This will fix like how bad Marvel TV has been. It's Sam Jackson-led show Secret Invasion. Came out in June. Guys, this broke me. I have not watched the finale in completion, to be honest with you, because I could not do it.
I just want to tell you one thing, and you have to believe me from the bottom of my heart. Emilia Clarke with Drax's arm is not real. She can't hurt you.
It's my sleep paralysis demon.
Plot is messy and sloppy, and it doesn't actually follow the very intriguing prospect of like not knowing who people are, because Skrulls can disguise themselves as anybody and absorb their memories as well. So it is very impossible to distinguish a Skrull from an actual person. And the Secret Invasion comic is like, that particular series is very, very beloved by fans and was very impactful. And I think that the pressure of bringing it to the screen without having like the direct one-to-one, kind of like how Civil War had to do away with a lot of key points because they could not include one of the major players, Dr. Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four. So there's a lot of stuff that they couldn't include from the comics, but they didn't have like that spy feel that the Winter Soldier movie had. You know, there was like a good bit of like, oh, it's intrigue,
It had nothing.
It's deception. It had nothing.
You can't try
the
to
light is leaving your eyes. I'm so sorry.
I'm like nodding where you're explaining what happened. There is no explanation. There's no rhyme or reason to what happened. It just happened, and I have to accept it and move on and get rid of my nightmares. Then came in September, I Am Groot Season 2, 81%. I have not watched it, but it's a hit with, you know, if you want some like short, delightful little cute content. Then came Loki in November, which was good, solid, you know, solid ground, 82% on Rotten Tomatoes, 82% with the audience. So like solid, it's a lower percentage than season 1, which was in the 90s, but I thought a beautiful sort of goodbye to the character of Loki, and lovely just sort of like bromance between Owen and Tom, and honestly, great watch. And then What If Season 2 came out in December, about 89% and 67% with the audience on Rotten Tomatoes. So, not a good slate in 2023 for MCU.
Yeah, very middling, I think, especially in terms of moving the story forward. The important ones were Secret Invasion, or I guess it's
exactly
like, and Loki season 2 I don't think actually has an impact from Loki's perspective, but there was one aspect of it that is going to feature quite a bit.
Save it!
So
yes. Right.
but those are the main ones that like push the story forward, and they just kind of. So, as product managers, we know when we're talking about creating a roadmap for delivery of products, one of the things that we have to consistently keep talking about, of course, is blockers for delivery. What is causing us to not deliver on time? What's causing delays? What's causing us to not be able to deliver something as expected in its present form? So, if we take a look at the Marvel product roadmap, and it is a product, I don't want to hear any comments over here about how, no, it's art and, you know, it's cinema, art is objective, blah, blah, blah. This is being made to make Marvel Studios and Disney money. So it is a product first, guys.
Okay, Kevin.
That.
Okay.
Actually, I thought you were going to say, okay, Martin. I'm really hurt by all these Kevin Feige descriptions today, but I am a product manager, so I will accept the role of Kevin. And the first thing Kevin's going to be shaking his ball cap over is the numbers. I think with the combination of the box office disappointments and critical failures, and in streaming, I think critical failures also means less viewership, because word of mouth is extremely important even in streaming, because there's better things to waste time on the internet with. You don't have to necessarily be on Disney Plus, you can do other stuff. So I think Quantumania being disappointing in the box office, like right out of the gate, set a really bad precedent for the MCU overall. I did confirm that with an edge of 1% on Rotten Tomatoes, Quantumania has now taken the mantle for the lowest rated MCU movie.
Over Eternals, okay.
there's a lot to kind of see an overlap of that, but people really started being very vocal about not liking this and not receiving any kind of pushback. I think I don't know what that thing is called. I believe it's MODOK. But when the first images of MODOK appeared, people were like, sometimes things don't translate between mediums, you know? Like, people try to explain it with Cats, the movie, versus Cats, the musical in theater, where you can, if you're very horny and very drunk, enjoy Cats being performed live in a theater. But when you watch the movie, you start to believe in God, because if God exists, there's also a devil, and the devil exists, meaning there's a hell, and you are currently in it, enjoying the movie Cats in 2019. There isn't always something that allows things to just jump off the paper and make its way to a visual medium like movies, but yeah, people were piling onto it, and everybody else seemed to be happy to pile onto it. And then the critic scores, I think, like, general audiences, by which I mean your mom and my mom and no one else. Like, no one else matters in this equation. But if they saw that critics hated a movie, they would just say, oh, I don't want to go see it. It's probably not that good.
Yeah.
And that's what helps with word of mouth for, like, people who aren't dedicated MCU fans, you know? So that really hurt them. That was another major roadblock. But let's
get
about
to the drama. Yeah,
let's spill some fucking tea, girl. Like, let's really get down to fucking business, because the hunties over at HR and Marvel must be really earning their money. They're like, you need to keep us on personnel, baby, because there's so many problems. I don't want to avoid this. I definitely want to say that one of the issues around the massive scramble that Marvel is going through is because of the legal drama that is following Jonathan Majors, who was cast as Kang the Conqueror, making his first appearance in season 1 of Loki and continuing that through both Quantumania and season 2 of Loki. The person who has brought him to court over these charges also worked as a movement coach on Quantumania. So this actually becomes a personnel issue for Marvel. I'm talking personnel with 2 N's and an E. So Marvel being concerned about this is actually appropriate, because it is their job to protect all of their employees as much as possible. So I can see them getting concerned. He's supposed to be a very big character. Kang the Conqueror, supposed to be like the next Thanos, essentially. And if they can't build this around him, anymore. He was primed to be. And as we all know, the MCU is planned like years ahead in time. Like, all the pre-visualization is done before even a director is attached to a lot of these projects. So that, I believe, is a genuine issue for them if they're going to go and redo all of this stuff. It's not the first time that this has happened for Marvel. I do recall issues with Josh Brolin being cast as Thanos all the way back in 2011 for the first Avengers movie. People had brought up his assault charge and subsequent arrest for domestic abuse with his then wife, Diane Lane, who was also in terrible superhero movies as well. Good God, poor actors and actresses of Hollywood. But I think, again, with the industry, as we all know, fucking money matters. That's the only color they care about. And so if Quantumania had made billions and jillions, I don't know if they would be so ready to let go of Jonathan Majors. But that being said, other employees in Marvel are also like not doing too hot. We've obviously talked about how James Gunn was let go and then rehired for Guardians of the Galaxy, and clearly took that as an opportunity to say goodbye and start working with DC instead. And they lost a pretty key creative voice. And as they can tell from the Guardians of the Galaxy being the only one that performed last year, it was a critical one. But we have to talk about Victoria Alonso. For those who don't know, she was formerly the VFX chief for Marvel Studios. The last title that she held in Marvel Studios was the president of physical and post-production, VFX, and animation production. So basically everything that gets added onto the screen besides the main cast member or character.
She also was labeled as like the life and blood of MCU in the book that we love to quote by Joanna Robinson, and other authors as well, whose names are escaping me now. But MCU, the reign of Marvel Studios, Victoria is celebrated as like a great leader, brought a lot to the table until this happened towards the end.
The reason that she was allegedly let go from Disney and Marvel Studios was that she had been involved in a project that was outside of the Disney umbrella. So she had co-produced a movie from Argentina, where she hails from, called Argentina 1985, that was nominated for Best International Feature at the Oscars in 2023. The movie came out in 2022, and she was a producer, so she received that Oscar nomination. And Marvel said, oh, hey, you're not supposed to be doing work outside of Disney and Marvel. You're fired. Miss Alonso lawyered the fuck up and took legal action. And Disney eventually settled to the tune of allegedly millions of dollars. And if we're wildly speculating between the two of us, I think she was, set up as the fall guy, the patsy, for all the VFX issues. Mm-hmm. So Marvel has been exposed, read to filth, dragged through the mud, deservedly so, for abusing their VFX artists. These individuals began sharing their stories of working with Marvel, of the 14-hour days and no overtime, which is insane to me. Like, it seems like a maniac is driving this. And I'm not entirely convinced that it's just Victoria Alonso, because all of these are constrained within the tight delivery deadlines that are set by the studio itself. So Correct. They're strained for resources, and it doesn't seem like they're allowing for an actual creative collaboration between the VFX artists and the directors involved. It's just a factory worker assembly line process that doesn't allow for any room. Yeah.
There's Twitter threads about how people have quit the industry and their craft and art because they worked with Marvel. So people who trained their whole lives to be animators and VFX artists no longer want to do it because of trauma. And
yeah, imagine that. Imagine getting people to give up their livelihood. That's insane. Like, we have the examples, I think, concretely of the release order of the Marvels and Ant-Man Quantumania were swapped. And Quantumania was brought ahead, and the VFX team were flabbergasted because it is extremely VFX laden. I mean, all their projects are. There's nothing that really doesn't rely on VFX, but the idea of pushing the limit onto how many hours these people can do for the post-production and visual effects for Quantumania resulted in the sloppy visual mess that we saw. Imagine if you and me, Kira, we had to go to our developers and say, actually, this feature that we discussed for November, yeah, it's going out now. Chop, chop, get to it. But these people don't have any choice in the VFX. And congratulations to them for being able to unionize so that they don't have to go through this type of bullshit again. And of course, Marvel's role in the general essence of the writers and actors strikes, again, I highly believe that Marvel would be one of the first people, along with David Zaslav and Marvel. Like, it's just David Zaslav as a human being who wants to use AI to replace writers, to replace people, and Marvel scanning somebody and using their likeness for future movies. I mean, it's entirely possible that they would do that.
Right there. Yeah, so the other blockers these were the big blockers, right? And the other blockers are definitely the strikes, and I think we were also talking about there's been some recasting that you have listed here.
Yeah, so people were very upset to see Cassie Lang just get randomly recast, which I was
like, who is this? When I watched the movie. It was so
Cassie
weird.
Lang, the daughter of Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd. They just recast this person, and again, the MCU has done that before. Obviously, Terrence Howard is seething somewhere. I love you, Terrence. I love all of your conspiracy theories. However, she doesn't. I'm sorry, her name is Cassie Lang. The actress's name is Emma Furman. And she could have played the character, but I guess they just wanted a bigger name, and they said the girl who wanted to sell her virginity on the internet and Big Little Lies, she's what we need.
What a time!
That was one of the dumbest moments of television. But anyway, it was fun. I had fun hating on her. And I think like all of this culminates to the most important question that I have. Will I be able to inappropriately get off in a theater watching Mahershala Ali suck blood?
We'll talk about Blade next.
So we've done plenty of dissing. It's time for some function. I think we're ready to head into Cross-Dysfunctional, and I think today, oh boy. The strategy of Marvel Studios, it is like one of those magic eye posters where you're looking and you're trying to see the actual image, and I think the first thing that is pretty obvious is they're doing fewer television releases. They have realized that the idea of pumping out MCU content, at least something every year or something every quarter, is not as sustainable, not only financially, but because people lose interest. You can guess who signed this off. It was Bob Iger. He's the one who said yes to all those god-awful live-action remakes that add nothing to the original, actually actively take away from what you loved so much from the animated movies with, again, terrible CGI and auto-tune. Everything looks dark in VFX because it's harder to see imperfections in bad lighting, FYI. So that
Iger's
same
idea
principle.
Also, Disney Plus was Iger's idea, then he pieced out and then came back and blamed everything on Chapek, who kind of went down because of Disney Plus.
Incredible. I was hoping for this to be the secret surprise 5th season of Succession. I would love for that to happen. Brian Cox comes back from the dead and takes over Waystar Royco Plus or whatever.
Raven.
TV.
Raven. With all due respect, you're not serious, people.
You're not serious. Well, you know what? You're a dinosaur, okay? This is the fucking future. Let's go. Yeah. Boo. Bad tweet. Bad tweet. And Disney saw a lot of losses in 2023, so there's major cutbacks being put into the planned streaming output for Disney Plus in general, so this obviously affects the Marvelous space. And Kira is going to be going through the upcoming slate of what is expected in both theatrical and streaming releases. But I found it very interesting that only one of them is directly linked to the MCU, as is shown on movies and television. About the villain of another villain that became a hero. So this is like, we are just making things that are very, very, very tangentially related to the main plot thread of the MCU, so it's getting as far removed as possible, which may be why a lot of people are losing interest as well. That's gonna be one of my guesses. And the other pivot that I'm seeing is that Kevin Feige is finally not too proud to admit that he needs to get back what Marvel sold away earlier. He's not too proud to admit it. So, in case people don't know, Marvel was dead ass broke in the 90s, and they sold the rights to both Sony and Fox. Sony, of course, is never gonna give this shit back. Ooh, they're cackling over there. But Fox was bought by Disney, and so now Marvel owns the property rights to the Fantastic Four and the X-Men and the Mutant Universe in general, which includes Deadpool. Get ready to jizz in your pants as senior citizen Hugh Jackman continues to abuse his body with steroids for your entertainment as he squeezes his aged ass into yellow spandex for you sick fucks. A graceful exit with Logan? Eat my ass. Character arcs are for babies. Okay, well, I was in a mood.
Wait. And he's single, ladies! Hanging out with Taylor Swift. Okay, I'm done.
I still remember those pictures of you biking with Leonardo, Blake. Don't you fucking forget it. And speaking of nostalgia, we're talking about the X-Men coming back. Feige's very clever. He decided to go with animated because he doesn't have the balls to try and actually cast these things now. And to quote from my script, so long as they keep my favorite heterosexuals, Rogue and Gambit, juicy and fruity, I literally don't care. So they gotta be caked up. Feige is all I'm saying. You gotta have an ass I can bite on. To, I think, your disdain, Fantastic Four with Pedro Pascal, you're like lighting candles for him on the daily. But I think this is coming in because they want the Doctor Doom character to be the new big bad. They're definitely vetting every spicy white actor, by which I mean like Lebanese, Italian, MENA, Eastern European, to be Doctor Doom. Yeah, so I'm gonna love seeing that. And the final Fox property is, of course, Daredevil. They're definitely doing another season. Don't even worry about that. It's definitely coming, you guys. It's coming. And it's totally going to be as good as that first season. Don't even worry about it. Everything's going to be fine.
Okay. Product managers. Assemble. Or the other one that I'm currently super into. To me, my product managers. Okay, that doesn't work.
Oh god, no, this is bad, guys. Alert. She's vibing with Magneto. Abort.
Guys, I'm so into this new show. God, I think MCU is saved. I think we're good.
Alright. That's it. You've been X-Men pilled. Congratulations. Welcome.
Ooh. What a fan.
The fandom is it's pretty diverse. It's happy to have you, but yeah, what do we see for the MCU coming up?
Yeah. All right, so let's start. So 2023 ended, and MCU is hoping that they can leave the past behind and move forward. But January kicked off with Echo, which is a spin-off of Hawkeye and leads to Daredevil. Born Again, which is definitely happening. You know?
It's definitely happening. You guys, it's happening. Don't even worry about it. They've already got a new showrunner again and fired them again. It's definitely happening.
So this was a binge drop. I think they were like, just let's drop it on Disney Plus and, hope no one notices and just move on. Which they did Alakwa Cox dirty, who was like really, really good in Hawkeye. And it's about 71% on Rotten Tomatoes, but there's no word of mouth and no buzz was created, so it just exists out there, and I don't think anyone that I know has watched it. So
I haven't seen a single fan cam on Twitter, and that's how I know a show flopped. You know what I mean? Because bitches make fan cams for everybody. So
honestly, yeah. We hope to see you in another good property that treats you well, Alakwa. X-Men 97! Next property! Drops in March. It is a continuation of the X-Men. What was it called? X-Men.
The animated show. It was like the OG animated show. Yeah.
From 92 to 97, just really beloved by fans. And so this new one, X-Men 97, is a direct continuation. And instead of, they're differentiating a little bit, the animation sort of looks similar but not quite the same. It reminded me of Archer, actually, Raven. The animation style is very much reminiscent to me of
it is
Archer.
definitely trying to look like a comic book. I really love that. The Archer leans into that sort of pop art Roy Lichtenstein, but this is like, it wants to look like Jack Kirby's art, which is really cool.
The logo, instead of the Marvel logo, says Marvel Animation, so there's a little bit of different pull here. The music is so good, and I'm just loving the story beats. There's like really meaningful, impactful thoughtfulness behind it, and of course there's nostalgia. And you know, as Raven, you mentioned, there's a great opportunity that this animated show really like kind of a soft launch lays the path forward for the 20th Century Fox universe that they're about to bring into the MCU. Responding well, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. Great word of mouth for this. Super strong. Everyone I know is talking about this show.
You're gonna enjoy a lot of aspects of Magneto in there as well, let me tell you.
Okay, Magneto? Hot daddy with the
all right, let's stop slobbering over fascists now. Next one, please. Good God.
Eric
Here,
Ledger.
if it's not this or someone from the dark side, ooh, Giancarlo Esposito looking pretty fine in The Mandalorian.
Listen.
Can you ever fall for a good guy? Anyway.
Facts are facts. Okay. Okay, then next comes Deadpool and Wolverine. So this is July. This, everyone has their hopes and dreams. The executives, the developers, the creators on this. So this is the big property coming. This is the first time Deadpool comes to the MCU. This is going to be like a Marvel property. And team up with Wolverine is going to be pretty fun to watch. The trailer got a bunch of views. The trailer got people talking. Guys, cashing checks. Okay, the other exciting thing about this is that they're bringing the TVA into the Deadpool universe. So Matthew McFadden is a TVA agent. How fun.
You can make a Tomlet without breaking a few Gregs.
Can't wait. You know, he needed a project after Succession. He's here. He's making money. Good for him. Then comes fall 2024. We have Agatha, Coven of Chaos. To this, I say cancel this, move on. Like, we don't need this. So this is
for reference, this is what I was referring to. The villain of a villain turned hero being the villain of Scarlet Witch. Which is, like, so far removed from the actual, like, main story. I just wonder, do you just want a witchcraft? Do you want, like, a goofy, like, witch thing?
It's gonna pull people. I think they should read the tea leaves. It's gonna pull people back to WandaVision, and then people are gonna be like, wait, 2020, the TV era of Disney Plus, pandemic. There's a lot of baggage attached to that, and they're pulling people to that.
The biggest baggage is Evan Peters showing up, and then they pull the rug under everybody. Yeah. So let me tell you something. You don't fuck with the Evan Peters girlies. Like, those bitches will cut you in the parking lot. Don't do that. They're mad about that, so yeah.
He's out here playing Ted Bundy or whoever, and people are lusting over him.
Jeffrey Dahmer. Zac Efron did Ted Bundy, yeah.
So then we go to, and by the way, same creator as WandaVision for this. So Jack Schaefer is the head writer, and Kathryn Hahn plays Agatha. Then we move to another one in the fall, another animated show. Well, the first animated show in the slate is, or the second, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I'm low-key super excited about this. So this goes back to Spider-Man's pre-Spider-Man of the MCU, sort of his high school days, what leads up to him becoming Spider-Man. The art, the animation style looks exactly like a hand-drawn comic. It's very unique. I haven't seen that in the MCU. Lots of possibilities. Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch, rumored to be making a return for this show. Daredevil, Charlie Cox, expected to voice the role as well.
Is Tom Holland involved at all?
No, he said
okay.
no.
He's busy seething on the set of Challengers, huh? Okay.
He's busy on the sidelines, just like taking photos of Zendaya as she's doing her promo things. He just follows her around, which adorable.
You know what, Tom Holland? I would like to have your job. By which I mean I would like to follow Zendaya around. So
you know who wishes he had that job? Timothée Chalamet.
Ooh. All right.
Kylie's gonna hear
Miss
this.
Kylie Jenner, I don't have anything. This is Kira expressing her own personal views. They do not reflect mine. Please do not direct your hate mail to Foot to Screen podcast. Please go find Kira personally. She will be eating bacon, egg, and cheese in New York, as all New Yorkers do.
Okay. Captain America Brave New World is the next on the slate. So this is for 2025 now, early 2025. Anthony Mackie as the new Cap, as established in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Sebastian Stan as Winter Soldier as his sidekick. The greatest thing about this is Harrison Ford is gonna play Thunderbolt Ross.
As of yesterday, there's been some scuttlebutt that Sebastian Stan may not be in Brave New World.
So here's the thing. Why? Why am I watching this if Sebastian is not in it?
I think he just wants to do other, like, kooky shit. He wants to play weirdos from the 90s, right? He played Jeff Galooly. He played, Tommy Lee.
What are you talking about? He's in Thunderbolts.
I don't know.
He's lost the plot a little bit.
I don't know if he's gonna be that. We'll see. It's
Maybe
coming with he's coming with the new season of Daredevil. It's totally happening, guys.
It's totally happening. So same creator as Falcon and Winter Soldier, Malcolm Spellman. He returns for this. So again, I don't know about this one. This was the second show.
This is a movie though, right? Like the Brave New World is a movie.
A continuation to Falcon and Winter Soldier. Correct. This will be a movie. One of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, Foz, as I call it, was one of the weaker shows of the slate. The show kind of functioned on like hot dudes and vibes, which, you know, I'm in any day, but maybe not for this one. Then comes Thunderbolt. So this is interesting. So this will be May 2025. The one thing that I know about this, and you know about this, Raven, is Ayo Edebiri pulls the
fuck out of this shit.
Good God. This is supposed to be MCU Suicide Squad, so Sebastian Stan, as of who knows, is going to return as Bucky Barnes. Definitely going to return as Bucky Barnes. Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, Wyatt Russell as U.S. Agent, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Then comes Fantastic Four, baby! July 2025. So Matt Jackman directs this. He did WandaVision and The Great as well, I believe. So, guys, the cast of this.
By which you just mean Pedro Pascal.
Pedro! Pick your shit up and leave. You know? See how things go next year and maybe then come back. But we have Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm and Pedro as Reed Richards. And Eben Moss Bachrach as Ben Grimm, aka The Thing. Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, Human Torch. So, is MCU saved?
I think that the big swing that they're taking by making The Thing a masshole is going to be incredible. You know, canonically these characters are from New York, but just, you know, I'm walking over here in the car park, cousin. That would be, if that happens, actually, it would be saved, you know? But what about Blade?
Yeah, let's go to Blade. So that is, I think, definitely going to happen. November 2025 for now. It's been moved 2 or 3 times, guys. Bassam Tariq departed the project right on the precipice when the movie was about to begin shooting. And Jan Demange from Lovecraft Country is brought in to direct. So as of yesterday, he's still tied to the project. I really just would be awesome to actually see this come through. Get Mahershala Ali his check.
I want horny Dracula!
There's, and then we mentioned Avengers The Kang Dynasty and Avengers The Secret Wars, which are 2026 and 2027 projects. I don't think they're happening. But as of last month, Michael Waldron, Loki, he did Loki and Doctor Strange 2, was brought in as head writer to rework things. So I have a feeling that the titles will be reworked, probably in favor of Doctor Doom. And let's no casting is announced for this, by the way. Only Michael Waldron is tied to the project. I want to quickly recap undated projects. Daredevil Born Again, which we know is definitely going to happen.
It's definitely happening. It's coming, guys. Don't even worry about it. Season 4, baby. Let's go.
Ironheart, Marvel Zombies, Armor Wars, Eyes of Wakanda, what? Vision Quest, and What If Season 3. So my summary of
none of these words are in the Bible.
If like there's an episode of Marvel Zombies in What If, and I think there's a whole storyline of the zombies. What if the heroes became zombies? It was a pretty fun episode, and it got great traction. So they were like, you know what? Greenlight a show based on this. They need
stop that. Stop this.
So the key themes are there's a major roadmap revival going on. And, you know, they thought it's time they tweak that motherfucker because the metrics ain't popping, guys. The metrics in this bitch ain't popping. So they're kind of lightly going back to the drawing board. We see a lot of first-time projects that they're trying to make the new marquee project. So Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, a sort of Suicide Squad of DC, and new storytelling techniques. We see animation, we see like different types of animation. Really interesting that X-Men in a long time has become the highest rated property, and it's an animated project within the MCU, so I think they should get some learnings from that. Also reminds me of Phase 1. Really, this phase, the Phase 5 that we're in, reminds me of Phase 1 when they were trying to launch Iron Man and Thor as heroes, and people weren't really that attached. So they're starting to build from scratch again, and sort of, I think that's the right strategy. Really forget everything in the past, because they've, last 2 or 3 years, really terrible for them. So at this point I say, Raven, let the past die! Kill it if you have to!
Yeah, no, they're not gonna bring Rian Johnson back into Disney. He's like, I cashed my last check from these assholes. All right, I have been given the task of handling our final thoughts and wrap up, which I feel is like a trap because Kira's been calling me Kevin Feige this entire episode, so I feel very wary about this, but...
someone has to take the fall for this.
I think the big question is, of course, whether Marvel can regain their footing that they have clearly lost financially, as well as in terms of the social capital of the general public's goodwill. From a creative aspect, people are very wary of joining this particular product line. They're going to be locked into lengthy contracts and their schedules are going to be taken over, but also I don't think they see this as beneficial to their career as much anymore. And
so I guess the big question is, can Marvel reign supreme again?
I don't know if it can. It needs a lot more than just leadership to be able to do that. And there's going to have to be very serious changes made, which Marvel is not in a position to do because they're so concerned about protecting their investment. It's about money. It's about that bottom line. So they're very unwilling to change things creatively. You know, they lost James Gunn in this process.
And James Gunn is readying the ship over there at DC, and real great focus and great vision is happening over there right now. You know, let's separate that from like the Zaslav world, because that is a shit show. I will say, I think this, like, the world is way too big for Kevin to manage now, because Phase 1, Phase 2 were successful because he could oversee the phases very closely, and then it became too big, and then it got kind of out of hand, and then, you know, it was just like disaster after disaster. And I'm wondering, is he also focused, or is he looking for a way out? Because I thought he was like in line to be the successor of Disney CEO at some point, but I think he's looking for, is he the next Lucasfilm? president.
I mean, he might be, because he's getting involved in Star Wars projects and working to create a similar sort of storyline structure the way that he has with Marvel. But I would like to point out that he did not create the actual stories, right? Those came from a collective of comic book writers and artists and people on a variety of different drugs. And that material is running out. So they're
Pascal is just like laughing.
Amazing Amy. Have you ever been to like a bar and you want to pick somebody up and have a conversation, but your friend comes over and acts a complete fucking fool and throws up on your lap and acts a goddamn idiot? That's Amy Pascal with her beloved Sony Pictures cinematic universe. So, like,
that woman is unhinged. There is a description of a meeting between Kevin and Amy in the book MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios, where they're meeting in her office for a lunch meeting talking about the future of Sony and MCU, and Kevin asks something about like, hey, we can help you with Spider-Man. This is during the Garfield era. She was eating a sandwich. She threw that sandwich in his face and shouted, "Get the fuck out of my office."
The Sony Pictures is also like diluting that Marvel brand. Like, okay, they come in and shore it up with the Spider-Verse and the animated, but anytime they go with Venom and of course the cinematic masterpiece Morbius and, you know, the cinema to end all of the cinema, Madam Web, they're just coming in and really like diluting the whole foray of superhero movies or comic book movies, whatever you want to call it. So I just feel like this is a risky venture creatively. So I don't think they're going to be able to regain that footing. Like, it's been...
The time and reset is key though. So I think people have... If they release project every 4 or 5 months and keep away from TV. We didn't see a lot on TV this year, right? We have X-Men and like a couple animated shows which may not be marquee shows. They'll be for fans if you want to watch them if you're bored on Disney. I do think it's the right strategy. Step back a little bit, take a break, let people forget you and forgive your mistakes a bit, and then come back with marquee projects, whether it be Deadpool or, you know, it'll be interesting to see, like, bringing that universe in. But I think Fantastic Four has to land. It has to land. That has to be, like, the new, like, hero team, right? Because one of the things that we keep hearing is, like, wait, who are the new Avengers? Raven is, like, laughing so hard right now, and I want to know what's going on.
I think that your heart will be broken into a million pieces with Fantastic Four. If you have read the comics, you can clearly tell that 60s was the time of psychedelics. You know, we were dropping tabs of acid and eating mushrooms with wild abandon.
Can we... I keep wondering what's taking them so long. Yeah, I'm sure behind the scenes there's a lot going on, but X-Men... We could really use the X-Men right now. Like,
that's a cast issue, and they want enough time to have passed so that you've forgotten everybody. Which is fucking ridiculous. I still haven't forgotten Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart. Reining that back, I really think that this is DC's time to rise. They've sensed a weakness and they're about to strike.
With the Penguin TV show, baby!
Oh,
it's happening.
My God. Okay, I'll slobber over it another time. But the bottom line is, with the question that we posed, I do not think Marvel can come back to the same level. I think they need to start paring down on what they're putting out for budgetary reasons so that they can put consistently good output again.
Yeah, I agree. So let's end the MCU talk there. Let's talk about next episode. So next time we're doing Metrics Minutes. Movie studios in 2023 by the numbers. Was not a good year.
In
movies
this economy?
Were great.
To quote Tina Belcher, in this economy, movies? No way.
All right, guys. That's all for today. Until next time, full screeners.
Bye, everyone.